Hey y'all, I'm Carol Corey. I'm so glad you're joining me here in my creating corner again. Welcome back. And if this is your first time here, I hope you have fun so you'll come back again. I hope you like the card that we're going to do today. Today I'm doing a card using this gorgeous Notes of Nature bundle. This is going to retire at the end of the month. This is April 2024 and this bundle is retiring, and it is just such a pretty bundle. And we're going to be using these gorgeous designer series paper. The leather faux trim is going to be going away, and so are these cork rounds down here. So I did want to make sure that everybody saw them in action so that you wouldn't miss out, because they are awesome. So, and if you don't have a US demonstrator, I'm here for you. Starting in May comes our new catalog, our new annual catalog with lots of new goodies. And if you need one, and you don't have a US demonstrator, you'll see my website up top and in the description box below. You can email me and I'll put one in the mail to you. I think you're going to love this suite. Look at this beautiful card. Now this is using both the Notes of Nature stamp set and the little bird right here is from Inspirational Sketches. Love it! And inside we have a little stamped image also from the Inspirational Sketches. But I think this is a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me, the whole vibe of it is sort of like a field journal, something that I can imagine like Harold Carter when he was, working down in Egypt finding Tutankhamun's tomb. I know he had a journal, but this is the kind of thing that, with the bound together with the leather trim, that they would have kept notes in. And who is the lady who worked with the gorillas? She had a notebook and she would sketch out different plants and everything. So that's kind of the vibe here that I'm getting or trying to give with this card. So let's get down to the creating table and see how we put it together. Hang on. This is the beautiful suite that I'm using some items from today. This paper, I just love this paper, and it will be continuing into our new annual catalog. Lovely and sweet. I really love these seed pods. This stamp set I'm pretty sure will be going away, and Notes of Nature will be going away. And I love these dies. These dies are beautiful. They're fun. They're fun. The leather trim is going to be leaving us by the end of the month, and so are these cute little cork rounds. I really love these cork rounds. So I'm going to be using some of this paper. I do want to show you this paper. I think it's so pretty. So here we have all the metallics with the seed pods and the wildflowers. We've got two different sheets that have like newsprint on them. And then we've got a basic gray sheet with like script. And then a sheet where you can just make 6 card fronts with the seed pods and the open pods. And then, as all of Stampin' Up's designer papers, the other sides are just as gorgeous. So here we have kind of a distressed gold foiled graph, and we have like a pecan pie looking like ledger. This is gorgeous. It's just purely gold with white embossed leaves all over it. Here we have the dark gray with the white seed pods and florals. Here's another with the seed pods and the florals. And then we have, well, each one comes with 2 sheets. And then we have this distressed graph look. And that is on the back of this. This is the paper that we are using today. Okay. And let me show you this card one more time. What we are doing. I just love this card just like this. And of course, I could put this sentiment on here, grateful for you, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be using this card for, so I'm leaving this sentiment off for now. If you'll notice, there's like gold foil over there. If this is a field journal, and there it says field notes, If this was an actual field journal, you could expect to find some smudges. Well, this field journal card is smudged, but we're smudging it with gold. Yeah. Okay, so let's see how we get this put together. Okay, I'm so excited to get started on this card, but I did want to show you our catalogs have such great ideas. This right here was my inspiration for the card. I liked how that looked, and I liked how it looked like the notebook there. So this was my inspiration, and there is, and obviously, you know, you don't see the inside. So what I did on the inside is I just put some of the mushrooms from the inspirational sketches stamp set, and I did just a teeny bit of watercoloring there. So that is the inside, and let me show you how we did it. Easy peasy. Turn that light on, it might help. Okay, here I have for my leaf spray, which is cut from the Notes of Nature dies. Let me go ahead and pull these out and show you what we got here. These are the Notes of Nature dies, and I'll be using this notebook die, and I'll be using the long leaf stem. So that long leaf stem will be cut out of the old olive. We also have a panel of our DSP, the Designer Series paper. On one side is dark with the white sketching on it. The other side looks like print with a little bit of gold splatter. This is the side that we're going to be using. This one is 2.5 by 5 inches. Here's another piece of our Designer Series paper. This little square is white with the gold sketching on it and like figure B, and it, you know, gives the genus and all of the plant. Love it. And on the other side looks like a graph paper. I had done one card using this side, and it really does look good, but you know, I like a little bit of shine, and we're going to add some more shine. And here I just have a square Very Vanilla. I'll have all the measurements down below. This one is, I believe it's it's 3 by 3 3/4, but it's basically just to stamp my bird on, and I'll be finagling with that. Here we have a Wild Wheat card base, and this one is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. Our regular card base, which is 8.5 by 5 1/2, and of course it's scored at the 4 1/4 line. And then I have a 5 1/4 by 4 Very Vanilla panel to put on the inside. So what are we going to do with all these? Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my bird. So on this scrap of Very Vanilla, I'm going to use this bird from Inspirational Sketches. I'm also going to use these little sketchy hash marks, and while I'm stamping, I'll probably go ahead and do the mushrooms on the inside panel. I've got them all ready to go. So in Memento, black Memento ink, right here, I'll be using Stampin' Blends. So when you're using the Stampin' Blends, you want to use your Memento ink. It won't smear. Okay, when you're using your Stampin' Right markers, you do want to use your StazOn, but with the blends, you want to use the Memento. It's fast drying. Now this is a different pad. Yes, you can pat and tap, but this pad, it's kind of hard. You can actually just rub your stamp across it, and that stamps it up, inks it up very nicely. So let's get this bird just in the middle here. There we go. And before I color the bird, I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I'll just do all my stamping to begin with. Let's put that aside. Now, using gray granite, using gray granite, I'm going to stamp. Just tap, tap, tap. You don't push and smush, you just tap on our regular classic ink pads. And I'm going to go a little bit off the side here. Now, I like to do my stamping on the inside panel before I attach it. That way, if you make a boo-boo, you have it other side. So I'm just going to put this down here in the bottom corner. And I'm going to let that dry really nicely because I'm going to go ahead and do some watercoloring on that. Just a tad bit of watercolor and nothing much. Okay, let me bring my bird back here. And I'm going to take the hash marks from Inspirational Sketches, and in basic gray, I'm going to stamp some hash marks, and I'm going to put down a piece of plain paper to protect this graph paper, because by the time I'm done with everything, I don't want the grid paper to be an absolute mess, because then it just gets distracting. Okay, so here I have basic gray and the hash marks, and I'm just going to tap it, tap it. I'm going to stamp it off. See how dark it is? I don't want it quite that dark. That's much better. Stamp it off, and I'm just going to do some hash marks around the bird, and if I cross over the bird, that's fine. Of course, when you're doing something like this, you are going to want to turn your stamps so it's not just like a repeating pattern. Of course, a repeating pattern could be good. Well, there we go. I'll just stamp it off nicely and put this aside. And we've got one little bit of stamping left to do, and that is on this wild wheat panel. I'm going to take this sentiment. It's field notes, and it's got like writing that you can't really see, and there's like a little stamp of some kind of, it's stamp of authenticity. Okay, so I'm going to take that, and in Early Espresso, I'm going to stamp this one in Early Espresso. I'm going to be putting this through an embossing folder, so I do want the sentiment to be nice and dark. Always want to look and make sure that you don't get ink on the edges of your stamp pad. You want a nice image, and we're going to put it right up here in the corner. And there we go. And I believe I am done with all of my stamping. The next thing I want to do is I do want to do my watercoloring first, because I want to make sure that it's nice and dry. So I'm going to take a clear block, on the clear block. Now I can either color on it with my Stampin' Right marker, or just touch the corner of the ink pad right to it. And this is Calypso Coral. And you know, sometimes mushrooms will have a little bit of color to them. So here I've got my aqua painter. I'm going to get some water down in there and get it pretty wet. And pick up some ink, and I don't want it dark. I don't want it dark. I want it looking faded. So I'm going to take the aqua painter, and I'm just going to color in underneath on the shaded part of my mushrooms. Now when you're water painting, you should use our watercolor paper, the general watercolor paper, but I'm not using a whole lot of water. So just a little bit of touches will be fine on your regular cardstock. The watercolor paper that we have is really nice. It's called Fluid 100, and it's got a nice texture to it, and you can like squirt the paper with a spritzer and get the paper all really wet, and that just helps the colors to flow so nicely. But this is just supposed to resemble like what a field journal would be. Yeah. You see, in your historical documentaries and your historical shows where the people from the early 1900s, late 1800s, how they would sketch and watercolor what they were seeing. So that's what this is reminiscent of to me. And so we're just kind of doing some of the highlights with the Calypso coral. There we go, because we're going to be using some Calypso coral on our bird, on our little blue bird of happiness. Okay, that's all done. Let me put that aside and get that wiped off. Perfect. Now we're ready to move on to the bird. Let's put that aside. Now I want to send this as the blue bird of happiness. So I'm getting out my Azure Afternoon blends, my Calypso Coral blends. You know, if you wrap your blends in the coordinating cardstock, it makes it so easy to find your the color blends that you're looking for, because some of them really do look similar. I actually made a video showing how to make these little marker wraps. I'll link that below in case you wanted to make some of these. Okay, and so I've got also my Smoky Slate blends and my Pecan Pie blends. Okay, so I'm just going to take, on all of our markers we have a thick line and a thin line. Your thin line shows it is a pen tip, and your thick line shows it's like a brush tip. And I'm going to use this brush tip, and I'm going to go over the black ink. Remember, we used the black Memento, and that won't smear. And it does brighten up that black a little bit. And here we go. And I'm just kind of moving down. Now with the blends, if you wanted to like blend your colors, you could do your dark blend on the artist's accent and shadow marks. I'm not really interested in any of that. I'm just making it all that. Because there's so much black in the ink from the stamped image, I don't really need to worry about using both for a lot of shading. Now I'm going to start out with the light on this one, just to make sure I don't get too much in there. Okay, yeah, that is a bit light. Let's go ahead and we'll just jump on in there with the dark. Give him a little orange neckline right there. And come down this way. And that's kind of how the bird's coloring goes. And here on underneath, it is kind of a grayish color. So I'm going to take my dark smoky slate, and I'm going to use my pen tip, not the brush tip. And I'm actually just going to go over the artist's shadow lines. There we go. And I'll leave the rest of it to show that very vanilla color. Now I've got my dark pecan pie with the pen tip. I'm going to do the outline of the branches. And then I will follow up with the brush tip, light pecan pie, and fill in his perch. And there we go. He is done. There's our little bluebird of happiness fella. Now, what I'm going to do, I don't want to put him on there just square. I'm going to tear the paper. Now there's two ways to tear your paper. You can tear it towards you, or you could tear it away from you. If you tear it towards you, you'll see the back half, and it looks kind of tattery. Let me get a little piece here and see if this can show you the difference. Okay, if I tear this towards me, you see how we have this edge right here, the ragged, thinner edge. This is really nice if you're doing like a beach, and you know, this makes for a nice edging where your water line is. Or you could tear it away from you, and it's still your ragged edge, but it's not, it just has a different look to it. I'm going to tear it away from me and just kind of hold it and pinch it kind of tightly, and you'll easily be able to control your tear marks. I like this ragged look. That's why I like the decal dies so much, but I wanted it a little bit more raggedy than the decal dies. It's really not difficult to tear a relatively straight line. And there we go. And there we go. Our happy little bluebird is complete. Yay! He's done. He's done. So we're going to put him aside. Now we've got some cutting and some embossing to do. With this wild wheat, I'm going to emboss it in this bark folder, and it's going to let it get wrinkled. If this was sitting in your backpack and you are out in the wild for months at a time, you're probably going to get rained on, and you might be splashing across creeks. And when paper and leather gets rained on, it gets kind of crinkly. A leather might get a little cracked looking. So we're going to put this through the embossing folder and get it that crinkled look. It's mainly going to be covered up anyway, so it doesn't matter. But if this had a definite pattern that I needed straight, your Stampin' Up! Folders have this line, so you can make sure that if you are embossing a very important that it's not crooked pattern, you can line it up on that line. Okay, so I'm going to emboss this, and while I am taking care of that, because this table is too shaky, I can't use my cut and emboss machine on here. You know, it's a pretty nifty thing. Let me show you. So I love this cut and emboss machine. I love how it folds up. Oops, got something under there. There we go. And then you just fold it open to use it, but you can fold it like this to put away. But it's got a little bit of heft to it. And if I use it on this table, it just shakes terribly. I do have a mini one, but the card base won't fit through there. what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the card base, and with this die from the Notes of Nature set, I'm going to put this die right about there. I will be opening the base though, so that I'm only cutting through one side. I only want to cut through the cover on this. And while I'm doing that, and while I'm doing the embossing, I'm also going to take my old olive strip and my leaf die that's got these lovely embossing pieces in there, and I'm going to cut out my leaf spray. So hang with me, I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. So here we've got our wild wheat base. Has a very rough texture to it now that we've embossed it, but you can still read the field notes and the numbers and everything. And here we have our leaf spray. Now this one, you can work on it to get it out, but the easy thing to do is just take your Take-A-Pick tool, and Stampin' Up! Dies have these little release holes on the back, and you just kind of poke something into there. This is a Take Your Pick tool, and it literally just, let's see if I can show it from this side. Push, and it just really just pushes it right out of the die. So makes it so easy, especially with the really detailed dies. These release holes are fabulous. They're really, really very important, so you don't cut or rip your die cut. The really detailed ones, you know. And here, this is the one that makes it look like a notebook. And I'm just going to take my tool and I'm just going to poke the little pieces out of the holes in the die. There we go. And the couple little pieces there. There we go. And we're ready to put it together already. Yay! Yay! Okay. So the first thing I want to do is put the leather in here. This is the faux leather trim from Stampin' Up! And this piece is about 20 inches long. So I'm going to come on the inside of my card base, and I'm going to put both ends in the, I guess let me hold a little bit closer. I'll feed it through both end holes. And then just work it through. And then this one. I love, like at the bookstore where they have the journals for sale, they still sell the very soft leather-sided journals that have the let me do that. That tie shut. I think those are so cool. And I'm going to pull this one through the middle. And up there. Now I want to make sure both sides are about even. Okay. Now I've got a little too much play here. Let me tighten this up. Okay. There we go. And we're just going to tie it. Perfect. Almost perfect. There we go. And let me grab my paper snips. And I'll give this a little bit of a trim. And that's all there was to that. This is the faux leather trim, and I've had a blast creating with that. Okay, now let me grab some liquid, all-purpose liquid glue and glue my wild wheat panel down. Now it's coming over a little bit. When you do your embossing, you'll see that there's like a little bit of a line. You know, like on your notebook paper, you have that red line that shows your margin. You'll have a little line similar to that from the embossing folder. Helps you line that up nicely. Now we're going to put this one, and of course you could use whichever side you wanted. You could do it this way. You could do it this way. You could do it this way. Or you could do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. I love sparkle. I love embellishments. I love foiling. It just looks so special. And you know, some people say, yeah, but this would be a perfect masculine card, and they don't want all that. You know what? Guys don't mind appropriate bling. Yeah. You're not giving them star-dusted unicorns with rainbows and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. Now, oops. Now, out in the field, we're going to have some smudges, right? So I want to smudge this, but I want to smudge it with my gold leaf. I love this gold leaf. It tends to fly everywhere. I keep it in the bag, and I kind of grab it out of the bag before I even bother opening the canister itself. Now let me show you what we're going to do, how we're going to do the gold leaf. I've just got some regular white glue here, and a little scrap of cardstock. I could use my silicone craft sheet, and the extra glue would wipe right off. But I'm using such a little tiny bit of glue, I'm not even going to worry about it. This is just regular white multi-purpose craft glue. We are not using the multi-purpose glue out of the green. We're not using this because this kind of remains tacky. Okay. So, aso. Open this, and I'm going to use a tweezer, and I've got a little Q-tip right here. Ooh, put a lot of glue, didn't I? Yikes. Okay. So I'm just going to do a little smidgy here, a little smidgy here. How about a smidge here among all the little droplets? We can put something here. We can put some here. Maybe a little bit there at the bottom. Okay, let's get that out of the way for the moment. And now all we do for the gold leafing, just grab a piece and lay it on there. You do not want to have a fan going while you're using your gold leaf, I promise you. You really, really don't. Okay. I know some people put their gold leaf in like a little container, like what I keep my embossing powder in, which you will see in just a moment. But honestly, this works just as well for me. See, I had a smidge there, didn't I? This glue's drying kind of quickly. I'm just putting this out there. Now, it's not going to be such solid coverage, believe me. You know, an easy way, now I want it smudged, I don't want lines, but if you want to do like gold lines, you put the tear and tape down, just a strip of tear and tape, and you put your leafing down there, you get such a nice crisp line, it's fabulous. Now, I've been using this same jug forever, since it came out, and you see it still goes all the way up to the top. They pack it full for you. Okay, let's see how, oh, looks like I got a little bit more glue up there in the corner. Okay. Okay, I'm going to open the top here. Love it. I love using gold leaf. There we go. There we go. Now, we just take our finger and we just rub it, and it kind of smushes in, and because it's the glue and it was halfway dried because I put all the glue on to begin with, there we go, it just leaves behind traces, and that is what I wanted. Probably want a little bit more down there in the corner, maybe. I'm going to kind of dry it a little quickly, so I'm going to put a little bit more there. Now, if you're putting a sentiment up in the top, you don't have to worry about gold leafing up there because it'll get covered. I'm going to put a little bit more down here. Let's get this. Oh, it's just so pretty. And of course you do want to do it on a sheet of paper and not just your tabletop, because you might spill it, and then if you have a lot of gold leafing on your paper, you're not going to want to throw it out because this is gold. I mean, it's not just called that for grins and giggles. This is actual gold leaf. Okay. So we just want to stick it down. There we go. There we go. Now, if you are someone who likes to stamp by mail, you can order this kit and I can send it to you for $15, and I will go ahead and do some little smears of gold leafing if you need me to. Okay. I think that took as long, if not longer, than the entire rest of the card. Let me get my glue out of the way. Okay. And almost done. Now I'm going to see how I want to put this. Of course, you don't want to really go over the edge too much, because if you go over the edge, then it won't fit in the card, in the envelope. So I'm going to trim off these very bottom two leaves. There we go. I'm going to take a little tiny strip of tear and tape, and I'm going to put it right here. Remember, this was a 7-inch long piece of old olive that I cut my leaf from. some gold leaf peeking out from there, and this is not connected, so that's good. Now for a little surprise, I'm going to take another little piece of tear and tape, and I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to take a little short, how long was it? 5 inches of braided trim. And I'm just going to put this little piece of braided trim right across there. Love it. Come here, birdie. We'll put some dimensionals on the back of the bird. We'll put, oh, this right here is a good thing for me to remind you. When you're using Stampin' blends, always make sure that you're using it on something that you're going to layer, because the Stampin' blends bleed through, as you can see. You wouldn't want to do it, say you had a white card or you're very vanilla. If you colored this in with blends and this was your card front, when you opened it up on the inside, you would see where you had marked. It would look like that. You don't really want to do that. So if you're using your Stampin' blends, it needs to be something layered. It needs to be a top layer. There we go. And we're just going to put, oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, that is so pretty. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. I really like it just like that. Let me put this on the inside and we can call it done, or I can show you, make sure I had the right one. Yes. Just wanted to make sure I didn't stamp on the wrong panel. I have to cut that one down. Oh. Oops. We don't want it upside down. There we go. How lovely, how lovely. Okay. And of course, as I'm attaching this down, I realize I did not stamp my inside sentiment. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. I love it. You know, what is this journal about? What is this field journal about? Well, today it's all about you. And I got a little bit on the edge there. I don't want that. Let's see how that does. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Now, I like the front of this card so much, I am not worried about a sentiment on the front. However, I know a lot of people do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my embossing buddy here. And I'm going to hit this very vanilla cardstock with my embossing buddy, and I'm going to emboss a sentiment. Okay? When you use your embossing buddy, that keeps your embossing powder, helps make sure that your embossing powder only sticks where you have your Versamark. Your Versamark is our fabulous watermark stamp pad that is perfect for powder embossing. So grateful for you. This sentiment, grateful for you, as is from the Notes of Nature. And here I've got my gold embossing powder. Now a lot of people, this is what I was saying, a lot of people will keep their gold foil, their gold leaf, in something similar to this. So, grateful for you. I'm grateful for you guys watching, stamping with me here. I'm home alone, but knowing that you guys are watching along and probably stamping along. Makes me feel like we're stamping together. Yay! Now this is kind of loud, but it'll only be a second. That is just so pretty. So here I've got my double oval punch, and I'm going to be punching this sentiment out using the larger scallop. Turn it over so you can see exactly where your sentiment is, and you can line it up just perfectly. Okay, almost done, almost done. Let me put that flat, put it down. Now, here I've got a little sponge dauber. With my sponge dauber, I'm going to grab my basic gray again, and I'm just, if I can get it open. Okay, I'm just going to tap it on there, and I'm just going to kind of pull it up in and hit the scallop. It might come up on the panel itself. That's okay. I don't want to put too much on the panel, but I do want to exaggerate, highlight that scalloped edge. So pretty. Grateful for you. Okay, now all that needs is a dimensional on the back, 2 for good luck, and I'm going to go ahead and attach this, and then I'm going to show you something. Okay, so here we've got the ribbon coming through here, and I'm just going to put the Grateful for You right there. Okay, now if you put something down and you decide you don't want it, here's my go-to way to fix that. My Take-A-Pick tool, your little pointy end there, it comes out, and look, it's a spatula, and you can tell this spatula's got some adhesive on it, because you can take this spatula and you can go right up under here, and it will get up under your dimensional, and it will lift it right off, and there is no damage to the paper. How is that for fabulous? So, if you put a sentiment somewhere and decide you don't want it there, or that's not the sentiment you like, no problem at all. Just grab your Take-A-Pick tool and it will lift it right up. Oh, but that's it! That is it! There we go! Today is all about you. Happy birthday! I love this card. Now this, I didn't finish. I didn't put my little cork rounds on there. But before I do that, if you'll notice, this has a lot more dimension. I forgot to do that. With your Take-A-Pick tool, or anything round actually, you can roll your die cuts. That way you can even roll them sideways. It's a lot easier to do this before you attach it, so that was something I probably should have done, but I didn't think about it. But there we go. You can still get that little curled up little bit of movement, extra movement. There. Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty. That's nice. I like the flow that gives to it, just having a little bit of curling. Okay, here are those cork rounds. Aren't they just adorable? So let me just add these. What did I do with my, here we go. Let's see. I'm going to take one here. I guess I'll put one right about here. on my field notes. And I can put one here. I'm going to put one down here. I just really like these cork things. I'm going to put a couple more on here. Put one there. It just adds that extra little, I don't know, I really like him. I really like him. Do I want to put one on the same thing with the bird? Let's put it on with the bird. Ah, there we go. So what do y'all think? What do you think? I hope you like it. I'm going to trim that a little bit shorter. There we go. There we go. Voila, et voila. I love that blue bird. I think he's so pretty. So there's the original. Here is the one that we just did together. And you know, this is one that I had done earlier. This was more of a monochromatic. You'll notice I did not color the bird in. And I did a blue card base here, that Lost Lagoon. And here I've got the sentiment up top and some smudges. This paper that I used actually is the softly stippled, and this paper was the free paper that I got during Celebration. So I love this set. I really do. Perfect masculine card, perfect card for the birder, perfect card for anybody who likes to be outside, perfect card for anybody who likes to dream about being outside. I love it. Yes, so the bird again, the bird and the mushrooms on the inside are, and this Grateful for You, are all from the inspirational sketches, and then our field notes up here in the corner, and our inside sentiment is from the Notes of Nature stamp set. And I believe that one may be retiring the end of the month. So I know you don't want to miss out on this fabulous set. So yeah, and I know you don't want to miss out on the new catalog coming out. So as I said, if you do not have a U.S. demonstrator, please, please, if you have any questions about anything, feel free. Go to my website and shoot me an email through my website. Be happy to answer any kinds of questions, stamping questions, scrapbooking questions that you might have. And if you need a new catalog, you want just something to hold in your hand, you prefer a print catalog, just let me know and I will put one right in the mail to you. So I'm so glad you joined me. I hope you like my card. I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, if you go ahead and subscribe, then and hit that notification bell, you'll find out the next time I put a video up, and then we can stamp together again. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And until next time, keep making the world a beautiful place. Bye.